Good evening Internet, and I do hope this finds you well. I am James Martin, you are watching JM Guitar Tuition. This is 0 Point Guitar TV, our beginners playlist, as a companion for my book, The 0 Point Guitar, available from, well, some good stockists, and Amazon, and also eBay, which I'm not sure how I feel about that. And in our first video we learned which bit of the guitar was which, what bit of the guitar was what. We learned which string was which. E, A, D, G, B, E, Eddie, Et, Dynamite, Goodbye, Eddie. We learned a little bit about timing and some basic single note finger exercises just to help get the coordination together. Then we progressed to a couple of chords, so we learned C chord and the G chord in our previous video, and we also learned 3 strumming patterns. We learned the semi-breve or whole note, which is a note worth 4 beats. We learned the minim or half note, which is a note, as you might expect, worth 2. We learned the crotchet or quarter note, which, as again you might expect, is worth 1. And now we're going to bring everything together, add in a 3rd chord, and we're going to start playing an actual song. Well, in fact, I might even manage more than one. Now, I should point out these will be songs in the style of famous artists, as opposed to actual songs, at least today. I'm going to show you how you can use what we're going to learn to play through some simplified versions of basic songs. We're basically having to play a little bit fast and loose to make sure that we don't get stung by YouTube copyright rules and regulations here. We keep everything nice and legit and legal. Cushy. Right, let's crack on. So we've learned the G, we've learned the C, and now we're going to learn their best friend, the D chord. So here we are then. Now, as you can see, this is a nice little shape here, quite satisfying to play. I've got my index finger here on the 2nd fret G. So 1st, 2nd, Eddie, Et, Dynamite, good. I've got my middle finger here on the 2nd fret high E. So again, 1st, 2nd, Eddie, Et, Dynamite, Goodbye, Eddie. And I've got my 3rd finger in the middle on the 3rd fret of the B string. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd, Eddie, Et, Dynamite, Goodbye. And being the D chord, it will come as no surprise that we are going to strum this from the D string, like this. Now, as before, you probably haven't made that sound. You probably made this sort of sound. And that's just fine. I think we know by now it never sounds right the first time. That's okay. We're going to work towards that. So, as before, we will play through as an arpeggio. So that's picking the notes of the chord individually, one string at a time. And adjusting the thumb position, as you can see there on the other camera, will help to ensure that we get all the notes ringing out nice and clean. So take a couple of minutes, pause me, and then we'll come back and we'll do some strumming. Ah, you're back. Lovely to see you again. Excuse me. Right, let's go and put the metronome on. And we're going to begin by playing our whole note or semi-breve rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to move things up to the minim or half note. That's going to sound like this. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then quarter notes or crotchets, that's once on every beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Now, I should point out at this point, you might have noticed that our D chord looks a little bit like a pyramid or a triangle, with the tip of the triangle pointing up towards the body of the guitar and the base of the triangle at the 2nd fret. It's actually a really good way of trying to remember your chord shapes. I meant to mention this in the previous video, but with the C chord, one of my students, when they first learned it, they said, oh look, it looks like a staircase with an open window on the G string. And I thought, what a fantastic way to remember that. You know, what a terrific way to make the shape your own and to keep it planted in the memory banks. Equally the G. That looks like a side-on slice of cheese or an upside-down nose. So all these things, they can seem a bit daft, a bit goofy, but if they help you to remember these shapes, they are useful learning aids. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to try and do is we're going to play through our first song. Now, what we're going to do here, this is a song that is similar to, but not quite the same as, for copyright reasons, Bob Dylan's Knocking on Heaven's Door. So what I've got here is the chord sequence G, D, and C. And as before, what we're starting with is picking through the notes of the chord individually as an arpeggio in free time, so not playing to a rhythm. And as we said before, the reason for this is simply because at the moment, getting the fingers to the right place is challenge enough. Let's not throw the additional challenge of a rhythm and a chord structure in quite yet. Let's focus purely on the finger movements for a few moments. And I think it's very helpful to consider this as an investment of time. You're spending time now to get a good result later on. That's what this is all about. So if you're willing to invest a couple of minutes, set the timer on your phone for 2 or 3 minutes, even if it feels really tricky right now, a few of those 2-minute sessions, 2-3 a day, spread across the course of a week, that's going to make a huge difference to your playing. So pause me, practice those until you're happy with it, and then we're going to move on to the next section. You're back. Lovely to see you. Right, so with this we've got a half a bar of G, a half a bar of D, and a whole bar of C. And we're going to be playing a crotchet or quarter note rhythm, so that's once on each beat. And if we remember talking about bars from last time, the concept of a bar being a group of beats, almost always a group of 4 beats. That is what's called 4/4 or common time. I don't want you worrying about that too much at the moment, because the likelihood is, unless you're an obsessive Dream Theater fan, practically everything you've ever listened to in your entire life has been in 4/4. So even if you lose count, it's going to feel flat out weird to play it any other way than the right way. So, quick recap then. Bar, group of 4 beats. We have half a bar, so 2 beats on the G, half a bar, so another 2 beats on the D, and then a whole bar or 4 beats on the C. I am playing a crotchet or quarter note rhythm, so once on each beat. That's going to give me this sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I want you to do now, again, pause me, practice that on your own, at your own tempo, until you're happy with it, and then we're going to come back in and we're going to stick the metronome on and play it a little bit more, play it with a beat, try and keep everything to a nice regular tempo. You're back. Right. So, we're going to set a slow tempo because it's a slow song, and odds are, if you're watching this, you're probably very new to the guitar, so we're going to keep it all slow. If you think about it, you wouldn't jump in a car and try and learn to drive at 150 miles an hour, would you? No, you learn to drive a car about 5 miles an hour. So that's what we're doing here, and we will gradually get quicker as we get better. So I've set my metronome to 40 beats per minute. Do feel free to go slower if you feel you need to. Set this to your tempo. You're in the driving seat. You should be comfortable. You should be able to think about what your next chord is and how you're going to get there. If you can't, that means you're going too fast for yourself. So as I say, I'm using 40 beats per minute, but that is an arbitrary figure, and it's a nice round figure. So we'll go with that for the moment, and I'm going to show you how this will sound with a metronome beat. 2, 3, 4, G, 2, D, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, D, we go. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is demonstrate this with the backing track from 0 Point Guitar itself. Oh yes, I did a whole load of backing tracks to go along with this, so we don't have to run the risk of YouTube's copyright laws by using actual songs. So I'm just going to find this on here, because I have hit that age where my phone hides things from me. Okay, here we go. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now of course, chords are like building blocks. They are, you can combine them in a variety of different ways to create lots and lots of different songs. And I'm going to give you another example now. This riff, for example, you'll be familiar with. And nothing need to worry about that, because all you've got there is a fancy way of playing G, C and G. So we can play D, C and G, so that means we can play this song. We can play Sweet Home Alabama. So what we'll do first, as again, chords and arpeggios in free time. So I'm going to pause me for a couple of minutes there just to get to grips with those chords. And we're back. Lovely to have you then. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be playing a half a bar of D to a half a bar of C to a whole bar of G. So 2 beats D, 2 beats C, 4 beats on G. So that's going to give me this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put that with a metronome. And again, I'm going to keep this at 40 BPM because although Sweet Home Alabama is faster, right now you're on what, lesson 4. I think we'll keep it nice and steady. Once you've got the hang of it, you can gradually increase the pace. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to just demonstrate that with the track from 0 Point Guitar. Here we go. 2, 3. Now, one word of advice that I would like to leave everyone with. All these chords we've learned so far have been what are called major chords, which is music speak for happy. So all your chords should sound happy. Now, obviously, you were aware that when you first start doing something, you're going to suck, aren't you? You're going to make a lot of mistakes. The fingers aren't going to go where they want at least to begin with. So you be aware that if your chord does not sound happy, that means you're doing it wrong. So go and look at those fingers, look at that pick hand, see what's going on. You're going to make mistakes as a beginner. That's absolutely fine. Every mistake you make is a chance to learn from it. So go and check those fingers. Are they where you expect them to be? Are you picking the strings that you think that you're doing? Because the chances are, unless you're making, for the moment, a happy sound, then no, something's going wrong. So it's on you then to look at what you're doing, analyse it, and figure out what you need to change. Every mistake you make as a beginner is a chance to learn. It may not feel like that, it may feel frustrating as hell, but learn from your mistakes, edit your mistakes, and you will improve. What's really, really important is that you don't just think, oh, I remember the D being this, so I'm going to carry on playing this, even though it sounds a bit weird. No. What's happened there is your memory's played a trick on you, you've remembered it wrong. Or you've misread a chord diagram, or you've misread some tab. Those things always happen, but your ear never ever lies to you. So these 3 chords will actually help you play a multitude of different songs, and we're going to get into more complicated ones as we go, and I'll also be putting up individual song lessons in the coming weeks, months and years, as I plan to be doing this for quite some time. But in the meantime, I think we'll call that quits for today. So well done everyone, I hope you're enjoying this still. Do please like, share, subscribe. All the backing tracks for 0 Point Guitar are available from me at my website. If the link doesn't work, message me and I'll sort that out. Also, you can order 0 Point Guitar from Amazon, you can find it on Lulu and a variety of other places. Just Google it. Google is your friend on this one, and I will see you in the next one. Alright, all the best.